Hello students, today we are going to discuss about techniques of teaching print to children with low vision. Let us start the session with discussing principles in determining the reading medium. The determination of the appropriate learning medium is but one of the critical decisions. The appropriate learning medium is based on a set of fundamental principles that reflect the individuality and unique learning characteristics of each low vision child. Some of the principles are: each child with low vision must have a learning medium based on the individual needs and abilities. The teachers should be knowledgeable of the child's unique abilities and needs. Students with low vision possess a wide range of learning characteristics that are unique in themselves. For example, reading with central vision, reading with peripheral vision. So, no global statement can be established for the total population. It should be based on the individual learning characters. The students who show a preference for gathering information visually can develop reading skills in print. The students who do not have sufficient visual functioning can be given instruction in reading braille. Instruction in both print and braille may be appropriate for some students, for he or she may need very large print for some educational purposes, and majority of his or her educational aspect he/she may be using braille. Some children may use print in daytime for short duration and braille for night time. Some students may read print but cannot write print. They can be allowed to use both methods. The determination should be based on the student's unique sensory capabilities, ability to receive information through sensory channels, stability and prognosis of the eye condition. The decision should not be on arbitrary criteria such as visual acuity or legal blindness. Each student with low vision should be assured that decisions regarding the learning medium are based on the sensory or overall visual functioning. The teacher who determines the medium should have professional training and professional judgment. The professional involved in the education of the children with visual impairment should realize that the children should have communication ability to assure independence and privacy. The teachers and educational team should have professional judgment in matching the appropriate learning medium with the child's individual sensory and learning capabilities. Now we will discuss on visual reading. In low vision services, reading print is the specific goal of the low vision persons. When a low vision person considers reading as a task, that may occur even as close as half an inch from the eyes. The test is to differentiate between those people who can see normal print, those people who can read large print unaided, those people who require magnification devices are able to read very large print, those unable to read print with magnification devices or need braille. Independent visual reading. A child who is ready to begin reading will still need visual training in addition to techniques used in reading. We can discuss some of the activities to foster visual reading. Activities to promote association of word symbols with objects and action pictures. Use pictures of previously recognized objects accompanied by appropriate words. Teach related words to pictures. Play a variety of games in which children match words to pictures using picture cards and word cards. For example, you can give picture and word cards of flowers, fruits, vegetables, animals, birds and make the children to match them. Affix labels to things in the classroom. The children may be asked to read what is written in the slip and take it to the place or object and fix it. For example, you can utilize the objects in and around the class such as window, door, blackboard, chair, books, and make the students to fix the written slips on them. Action words can be written on individual cards for the child to choose and act out. For example, you can provide action word cards to choose such as jump, run, walk, sit, smile, and make the students to act appropriately. Now, let us see different activities to promote discrimination, recognition, and identification of individual letter and words. Match letters. Present letters in unlike configuration. Unlike configuration is easier to identify. So, provide this activity prior to complex activities. For example, you can ask the child to match the letter P with a set of letters L, M, P and Z, in which the child can easily identify the letter since the configuration of other letters are different. Next, present letters in like configuration. For example, you can ask the child to match the letter C with a set of letters A, D, C and E, which have similar configuration, and the child has to discriminate and identify the exact letter. Match words. We can provide activities like matching unlike words and like words. For example, in matching unlike words, we can provide words like ball, we, cap and man, and ask the child to match the word cap. Since the other words vary in their spelling and number of letters, the child will be able to easily identify the exact word. Then move on to making the child identify the like words. For example, make the child to identify the word cat from the set of words eat, dot, cat and ate. In this example, you can see that all the words have the letter T and the number of letters are the same, so that the child has to do fine discrimination and match the exact word. Activity like sorting letter cards into proper letter sorting boxes will be interesting to the children and provide a learning experience. Prepare boxes with letters such as K, V, C on it. Prepare 3 to 5 letter cards for each letter, shuffle them and give them to the child, and the child has to sort the letter cards into the appropriate boxes. Next activity is match letters in work pages. Prepare work pages such as letters in 2 columns, where the child has to match the letters in the column 1 with the letters in the column 2. Activities such as identifying the letters in the card similar to the one in the circle is also quite interesting to the children. For example, write the letters such as A, D, K, O, C, E, M scatterly in a card. Write a few letters 4 or 5 times, and especially the letter which you want the child to identify. If you want the child to identify the letter D, write it repeatedly here and there in the card along with other letters. Circle the letter D and ask the child to find out the remaining. Now, let us discuss the activities to foster and encourage visual reading of simple materials. Use known songs, verses and stories which children can read from memory. Make flashcards of words taken from the song or story and make the child build sentences. For example, in the story Thirsty Crow, prepare flashcards such as crow, thirsty, forest, pot, water and make them to build sentences like the crow was thirsty, the crow found a pot with water. Begin using textbooks. provide a story time. Children listen to a story told by teacher or by an audio cassette. When they have completed listening, the child can follow reading the same story. Activities to increase reading speed. The slow reading rate attained by most children with impaired vision is a major frustration. Speed reading techniques must be started early before bad habits have already been formed. The aim of reading is to observe the thoughts of the writer, not the single words which combine to express these reading. Reading speed, a minimum of 20 to 25 words per minute is needed for comprehension. Therefore, systematic scanning technique which develops the ability to spot keywords, phrases, sentences and paragraphs need to be devised. Teach children to use principles of continuity and context to make intelligent guesses. Encourage use of configuration clues. Teach children to avoid sub-vocalizations which concentrates attention on single words and parts of words rather than ideas expressed. The use of line marker or typoscope offers help to reduce glare and increase contrast and readability. Develop good listening skills for more effective use of recorded materials and reader service. If visual aids are available, develop skill in the use of devices. Activities to develop independent writing skills. Activities for writing can be given simultaneously along with reading activities. All hand-eye coordination activities prepare children for writing. These activities should be continued throughout the writing program. Reinforce pre-writing activities before actual writing letters start. For example, repetitive exercises can be given to the child in pre-writing skills in terms of standing lines, slanting lines, sleeping lines or drawing a circle or a semicircle. Some of the writing devices which improve contrast and facilitate writing are bold tipped or fiber tipped pen, black ink, line guide or typoscope. Typoscope is a reading shield made of black material in which there is a rectangular aperture allowing one or more lines of a print to be seen. It reduces extraneous light reflected from the surface of the paper and assists in staying on the correct line. Other devices are bowl line paper, writing slate used by sighted children and chalk, Nik magnifier, closed circuit television for large print, typewriter, computer. Let us see what are the teacher observation checklists, signs that may indicate low vision. Teachers in the regular schools may have children with low vision in their classes, but do not recognize the signs that indicate that a child has difficulties in seeing. The list gives some of the most obvious problems these children face. Speed of work is very slow. Working distance is very short. She or he does not write on the line or between two lines. Excessively big or unnaturally small size of written letters. Partly formed letters are letters drawn in the wrong sequence. Errors in reading and writing, especially reversals and omissions. Writing and spacing letters and words in an unusual manner. Difficulty in copying correctly from the blackboard or even from a textbook or other sources. Written work does not reflect oral ability. Confusion in reading certain letters such as CL for D, M for N. Difficulties in reading long words. Very slow reading rates using finger to keep place and guide the eyes. consistently losing the place when reading. Difficulty in searching for information on a page, for instance, when using a dictionary or interpreting a graph. Deterioration in reading after a lengthy period. An increasing gap between comprehension and reading rate. Inconsistent quality or variations in the amount of work completed. Difficulties in reading poor quality worksheets or in processing information which is not presented in a linear manner. Problems with reading back own handwriting. Poor attention or concentration span, especially when activities are being demonstrated across the room. By fixing the head is kept at a wrong angle. Seems to look at the side of an object he or she is supposed to look at. Cannot find the object he or she is looking for. Fumbles over fine hand-eye coordination activities. Mixes the names of colors. Often appearing headaches, easily tired, for example when looking at pictures. Wishes for more light. Is oversensitive to light. Has difficulties with orientation. Triples over or bumps into objects, get easily lost, moves carefully and anxiously, has difficulties when walking up or down stairs. Now, let us discuss about psychosocial issues. Another issue relating to low vision is the psychosocial impact of a visual impairment. Children growing up with a visual impairment can experience many negative consequences, including feeling like they look different either because they cannot visually verify how others look or because they wear glasses or use optical devices. Feeling like an outsider because they cannot take part fully in activities. Feeling less than capable because they do not understand visual concepts fully. Feeling clumsy because they drop things or bump into objects. All of these consequences can have the effect of lowering self-esteem. It is important that students identify themselves not by their visual impairment, but see their visual impairment as one aspect of who they are. Intervention may be necessary so that a student can build successful experiences and find activities in which they excel. Unique educational interventions are essential for students with low vision in order to ensure successful outcomes in the school setting. The resources to help guide the reader to additional information on such interventions are a comprehensive system of care for persons with low vision has clinical, educational and social components. It ideally starts by locating persons with visual problems and referring them to eye care or clinical vision services. Some children with low vision are taught to read Braille unnecessarily. This child is clearly able to see the Braille dots on the page, and with the refraction and or the provision of low vision devices should be able to read normal print. The low vision children should be encouraged to effective use of their best vision. This can involve their learning to write at closer distance, to use magnifying devices or to use creative strategies to determine what is written on a blackboard, such as making a child seated nearby to read aloud while the teacher writes. This training is important as it enables children to attend local schools. Inclusive education programs are one way of achieving many of these social and educational components of care for children with low vision. A major obstacle to the provision of low vision services is a lack of coordination between eye care services and education or rehabilitation services. Each believes that the other will arrange for children to come for an eye examination and or clinical low vision care or ensure that they obtain the surgery and or spectacles needed. It is vital for staff in eye units to ensure that children with low vision are treated and managed appropriately. In situations where the eye care service provider is unable to do this, education programs must take responsibility. Caregivers, school programs and community based rehabilitation programs often give cost as a reason for a child not receiving the clinical components of low vision care. However, transport cost, hospital fees and the cost of a pair of glasses compare well to the long term cost of interventions such as enlarging print using photocopiers, the use of braille and education in a special school for children who may not actually need them. So, it is crucial that eye care providers, community workers and teachers should firstly direct their efforts towards organizing access to eye care, then towards providing surgical and optical interventions, and lastly towards determining what educational support is needed by a child with low vision. Now, let us discuss about refractive correction. To get optimal level of visual functioning and acuity, clarity and efficiency, a full examination must be performed. This involves an ophthalmological investigation, refraction, full examination of the back of the eye to determine the condition of the eye and evaluating the proper prescription need of the individual. Refractive errors are reflected in the wider community, but are represented different configurations in the low vision community. The correction of the refractive errors is the first step to be considered. For correction of refractive errors, the lenses prescribed are short sighted, myopia require a minus lens to negate the effect of myopia, may need stronger glasses every 1 to 2 years from 10 to 12 years. Long sightedness, hyperopia require a plus lens. Astigmatism requires cylindrical lenses. Glasses or contact lens for aphakia, that is absence of lens. Let us see the types of visual aids and its uses. The types of visual aids and its uses are telescopes, handheld monoculars, bioptic Keplerian and contact lens telescope. Uses are reading chalkboard, seeing faces, bus numbers, street signs, watching television and sports events. Visual field expander, reverse telescope, Fresnel prisms. The uses are mobility and orientation. The next one is pocket scope, which provides light amplification under dim photopic conditions. The use is to alleviate symptoms of night blindness in retinitis pigmentosa. The next aid is spectacle aids, high power aspheric lenses and spaced lens system. The use is for long term reading sessions, writing tasks, need work, reading invoices. The next device is magnifier, handheld and stand. The uses are for short spotting tasks, mail receipts, phone numbers, addresses, labels, prices, dials, gauges, measuring tapes. The next aid is electronic magnification, closed circuit television, split screen for classroom and typing. This is for reading and writing tasks in patients who have smaller fields and needed higher magnification. The next aid is tinted and filter lenses. This is used for glare comfort in RP, albinism and cataract. The next aids are non-optical aids, illumination, control aids, large print material, adjustable reading stand, bowl lined paper and felt tipped pens. The uses are to provide optimum illumination for the individual task with optical aids, for comfortable reading, for greater physical comfort, increase contrast and improve writing task. Students, so far we have discussed various techniques of teaching print to children with low vision, which I hope would be quite interesting and